there's a web out there of cause and effect that not me, not you, none of us have any control over. The world is just going to be. The only thing that is just what is. So at the end of the day, you could never control what happens. You can only control your perception on what's going on and what you're seeing. So in essence, Stoicism teaches people, and I'm getting to your question, that at the end of the day, your main number one focus is for ataraxia, which means calmness or peace of mind.
What it is, my lifers. Welcome to the Lyfe After Podcast. Y'all already know who it is, your boy Flo, and we in for a special episode today. I can't wait. Stay tuned.
You are tuning in to the Lyfe After Podcast.
Lyfe After Podcast. Remember, Lyfe After.
The Lyfe After Podcast.
Lyfe After Podcast, baby.
Woo! Don't you miss a...
What it is, my lifers. Welcome to another episode of the Lyfe After Podcast. You already know who it is. It's your boy Flo. And we got somebody very special in the building today. I'm not going to do no introduction. He's going to do it. Talk to him, please.
Thank you, Flo. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much, Mick, for having me, and Flo. My name is Rafael Marimon, and essentially I'm an entrepreneur, currently based in Dubai. Grew up in South Florida, originally from family from the Dominican Republic. So shout out to all my Dominicans that's out there.
Woo.
But yeah, currently right now we're building an e-learning platform that focuses...
Hold on, no.
Not too much?
You finna kill him slowly.
Slowly.
Yeah.
Got it.
I think the people want to hear you today. They want to talk to your soul today, man. They want to hear you pour out. So... First of all, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling fantastic. I'm feeling amazing. I'm feeling blessed. Every day that I always say, every day that I'm above ground, it's a new blessing.
That's right, man. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm so excited to have you here. Like, I was thinking about you for probably like the past 2 days since I met you, and I was like, man, I gotta get you on this podcast before you go back to Dubai. Speaking of Dubai, you see how we kind of easing our way into it. Like speaking of Dubai, like how did you even end up there? We finna skip all the fluff and all the talking and everything. How did you end up in Dubai?
Plain and simple. I went to college with a buddy of mine who basically he's from Dubai. Was introduced to him by a mutual friend. I used to go to this coffee shop all the time up there in Tallahassee, Florida, and he had walked in the day prior, had met the owners. I was really good friends with the owners, so I walked in the next day and they're like, "Hey, we just met this guy. You really got to meet him. He's a fascinating person." So they set up a meeting, and from there, I learned through him. I learned a lot about Dubai, and fast forward to 2021, opportunity presented itself for me to go and visit Dubai for the first time. And a few months later, after visiting, I decided to move.
Okay, so listen, we going so high, we finna take off to Dubai. Ooh, that kind of rhymes. That rhymes. I did not mean to do that. I swear. But like, what is the difference? Like the biggest difference from here, from essentially Dominican Republic to here to there? Like, what is this great transition you're seeing, witnessing?
Yeah, so I spent most of my life in South Florida. My parents brought me here when I was very young. So I was able from a very early age to see the difference in lifestyles from every summer visiting the family in DR and then coming back. And, I would say the transition, is just going from humble beginnings to then a much better lifestyle here in the United States to then a life of abundance that Dubai brings. So it's just fascinating. It's almost like I'm living in a whole completely different world, just being surrounded by just the most amazing people I've ever met.
Listen, I've heard all the rappers rap about it. And I've heard, like, I've seen it in the Forbes magazine. I've seen it in the Entrepreneur magazine. It's like the must-see place. And I see all these projects that they're doing and they're working on over there. And for you to, like, and they remind me of this guy right now, man. He's doing a painting, a mural in the same little lounge that I go to. And it's different when you show up there and it's already done and you see it. But when you're sitting there witnessing it being like orchestrated and designed and manifesting right in front of your face, it's different. So for you to be in Dubai right now, I would still say in the startup phase, because I sound like they got a lot going on over there as far as the projects on it.
Absolutely. You know, the country, the United Arab Emirates, is only 52 years old. But Dubai is much older than that. But from the significant growth that we've seen since 1971 to where it's at today, there's very few countries that have made such significant progress in such a short period of time.
Yeah, it's almost miraculous. Like the scale of some of the architectural projects and the construction projects. They have the highest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa there as well.
That's correct.
Yeah. So, and it reminds me of a prophecy of the Prophet Muhammad said, peace and blessings be upon him, that said the Bedouins who you see now, who have no money and nothing to their name and are nomadic people, one day they're going to be building structures that are going to reach the sky. And we see that today in Saudi Arabia. We see United Arab Emirates. We see it in a lot of different places in the Arabian Peninsula because of this black gold that was found under the surface. You know what I mean? So it's almost just going there and seeing that, and it's almost just like a reassurance or like a reminder of like the truth of like, you know, the Deen and Islam and like, you know, some of like just the stories that were told. I'm curious though, like what's the life you would say of a Muslim, like different in Dubai versus like in the United States?
Yeah, so I would say that, you know, a Muslim living in Dubai, they're exposed to a much bigger community out there. So, for example, you know, in the United States, you have your communities here, right? But they're pocketed, right? It's in different silos, so to speak. So unless you grew up in a Muslim household, or unless your family lives in a predominantly Muslim community, you're a little bit more isolated from people that share the same religious belief and share the same kind of lifestyle as you.
Right.
But when you're in Dubai, you know, it's a grand majority, an overwhelming majority is Muslim. So you have more people on the day-to-day that you interact with that share the same belief systems, that understand the Deen, and that are there to support you if you ever need, if you're ever slacking. So.
No, yeah, 100%. And it's all about like that community support and like having those people around you. Because I remember like I was in Italy this summer and it was Friday and I was walking around like this leather market and I ended up finding this man who's Bangladeshi. Oh, yeah. And he said, where you from, brother? Where you from? I said, I'm Nika. Like I'm from America. He said, oh, really? America? He said, how much people Muslim where you live? And I had done some research earlier, so I had it on me. And I said 2%. He said, oh, 2%? No good. I said, how much were you from? He said, brother, 95%. So it's like, it's yeah, alhamdulillah, it's really in the water. And that's the thing now is we have so much information at our fingertips that the most valuable things isn't necessarily new information, but it's reminders of, you know, the ancient wisdom and like information that just has been around sustaining the human life and like societies for so long. So when you're around those people who just have taqwa of Allah like all the time in their lives, like it's so enriching. It's really enriching for their souls. So, you know, maybe next time I could come out there with you and explore a little bit.
Come on out, please. I would love to have you. And I always extend the invitation to all my friends and family whenever they want to come visit, because it truly is a remarkable place. And I'm not saying that and I'm not saying that only just because I live there. It's because of at the end of the day, it's a tree is known by its fruit, right? So the fruits of Dubai has been known for many years, and so I say everybody should just come and witness that for themselves and see the atmosphere, see what the true what the capabilities are when you set your mind in the right path and you do take everything one step at a time, you see what you can accomplish.
Yeah, man, because that's really what the miraculousness of Dubai is just how many people from different parts of the world are coming in and just like building up like just the intellectual just weight of this city. Like everyone you meet there is there on a mission and is there trying to better themselves, better their family, better the entire humanity in some certain type of way. You know what I mean? So I feel like just being surrounded by these people who are just hold themselves to the highest standard at all times, or every day waking up trying to do what's best, trying to be productive, like that's just gonna ignite something in you to be better and to push yourself even further. Because environment is like a very important thing, dog. You change your environment, you change your life. You change your environment, you change your thoughts. And if you can be around a lot of people who are thinking these positive thoughts, man, your world changes. And that's like that's one of the reasons why I think travel is so important, because it expands your world. And that's beautiful for you to do that, from your family coming from humble beginnings in DR, and now you're actually, bro, you're a world citizen now. You really are a world citizen, because from Dubai, I'm telling you, there's no stopping. You're gonna travel and go to 100 different places, because that like veil of fear has been released from you, of like, dog, I could go anywhere and be me. I could go anywhere and improve. I could go anywhere and evolve. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people live here, like even in Miami, never seen the beach.
Right.
Never seen the beach in Miami. Man lives 20 minutes away. Talking about, man, what am I going to do on South Beach? Yeah. Like, dog, you ain't even got to go on South Beach and do all the different stuff. Just go plant your feet in the sand. You feel me? Go feel the water. Just experience something new.
Go recharge.
Go recharge, exactly.
And you know what? That's the beauty of having you here to share your presence. Just your presence along with your story is beautiful, because the people, they have to realize that there's a whole world. Like literally, there's no one tying us down and holding us where we are. And to see, like what he said, world citizen, for you to be a world citizen right now. And, I felt limited. I've never been outside of Florida other from Jamaica when I came up here at 9 years old. So I don't know what any other state look like. I don't know what too many other counties look like, rather than the ones that I've been to, the few that I've been to, Right. And you, like, what is it like? How did you become a Muslim, first of all? Because I'm pretty sure you wasn't a Muslim in DR.
No.
What's the story with that?
So the story on how I came to Islam is it's a long story. So it started off, just like many other similar brothers that have reverted, like myself. A lot of it started with first learning about what Islam was, or hearing about Muslims during the 9/11 attacks. So it's unfortunate that such a tragic event was spun by the media to then be pinned on such a beautiful religion that's filled with such the most amazing and most beautiful people. So when from a very early age, I knew, or I had it's been taught to us that there's Muslims out there that's trying to attack America, that hate us, and so forth. So fast forward a few years, I ran into a lot of troubles as a teenager, and I was just in the wrong path. I was lost, and my family, similar to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, they got fed up with my shit, and they sent me to LA to go stay with my family out there, who they're Christians, they're religious, so to speak. And what they did was, instead of them pressing religion on me or anything like that, I was able to witness just how people who genuinely love God just live their lives. So I said I wanted that for myself. I knew I wanted something to fill this void in my life. So I started pursuing Christianity. I started reading my Bible, started attending Bible studies, started going to church and all of that. But at the same time, I then started meeting other Muslims while I was in school. I fast forwarded a few months. I came back to South Florida, and I met Muslims that were my classmates and all of that. And as I was out here, very excited, very fired up, because I had just realized that there's a better path and a better life for myself through God. I wanted to spread that with other people, but then I met Muslims, right? And I would see how some of these people, even as kids, they were so committed to the religion. And so that was, I would say, the early dawah that I started receiving, from a very early age. I was only like 15. So then I would go online. I would look up videos on what Islam is. I started looking up people, how they pray. And I was truly fascinated by it. And from that point, even though I was on fire in the church, studying the Bible, left, right, and center, I always had this interest. I developed an interest in it. And so then fast forward post high school, I started, I went into the Marine Corps, and I served with Marines that are of the Muslim faith. And I'm like, wait a minute, we have Muslims serving in the U.S. Marine Corps, and they love America, but they're also very devoted to the religion. So I would ask them for hey, tell me more about Islam. And one of the biggest things that one of my Marines actually once told me was just go ahead and ask me, but what I recommend you do is just read. And that's what I went ahead and did. And I just went online and I started reading, and I picked up books as well on the Christian perspective on Islam, and more scholarly, more of like an objective overview of what Islam is rather than a subjective book to it, because I wanted to take that approach. So that, because at the end of the day, I always understood that if I read something that's from a subjective point of view, I'm only getting one side. I'm not getting the big picture. So as I started reading more of the facts of Islam and all of that, I started developing this more of a bigger interest and kind of respect for the religion as time went on. And then fast forward to my time in Tallahassee, Florida. I met the same buddy that I met that was from Dubai. I realized that he's Muslim, and we would meet every day at his house, and we just talk, and we would talk and talk, and then finally one day this fire was for me was like I wouldn't say fire. It was this curiosity. I couldn't contain it. So he was walking to Juma one Friday. So I asked him. I was like, "Where are you going?" I knew where he was going, but he's like, "Oh, I'm just going to the mosque. It's our Friday prayers, whatnot." So I'll be back in an hour, but we'll chill. I was like, "Nah, I'm coming with you." So,
he's like, gave your own little invitation, I'm inviting myself. I'm there.
So we pulled up to the masjid, and mashallah, the imam was a young guy, and he was there talking, and he was giving the khutbah, which is like the sermon that's given every Friday, and every time he would say, "Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala," which means the God, the most superior. Essentially, every time I would hear this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I would feel this vibration coming from deep down in my chest. And look, even just talking about it, I'm getting like even the same vibrations. And it just like fired up this like old fire, or like that I haven't felt in a long time, that I felt when I first started coming to God, but then started straying away. And then here I am hearing it again at a khutbah, and just how it would just ring through my chest and through my whole body. I knew right then and there, like, hey, this is like, I knew right there that was my calling. And every time I would go back, so the khutbah ended. I was like, when's the next prayer? So I went to the next prayer, and then I went to the next prayer. And then from that, I just knew I felt like I was finally home. And it was time that I really started taking myself serious, started taking religion more serious. And at the end of the day, it's a journey. That it's not something like you come to Islam and that's it. It's a lifestyle, and it's a journey. It's something that you it's a process, that you choose to continue on, and that's what I'm on at the end of the day.
Bro, isn't it amazing how they pray? Like the way how the Muslim people pray, and I say they because I'm not Muslim, but I do acknowledge how they pray. Like that is a level of submission, to get on your knees. And because, when I pray, I pray in secret. I'm like ducked off. Like, I'm not trying to be seen praying, but it's not that I'm not trying to. It's just like, I don't know. That's just how I'm praying. You know what I mean? But to like get on your knees and put your head down on the floor and to do this multiple times a day faithfully, and you commit how is your mind is reminding you so much of the objective. It's so much discipline in it. That reminder is just always there. All the activities, which I feel like that's what religion is. Religion is a whole bunch of activities that you partake in that it becomes habitual after a certain amount of time of you doing it. And then it's just second nature. And then it's just embedded in you. You know what I mean? So like, how does that play a part? What's the effect that has on you?
Absolutely. So, the discipline, it's important in every man's life or any person's life at the end of the day. If they want to accomplish, something greater for themselves, if they want to level up, whether it be spiritually, physically, or mentally, you need to embed that discipline. So, for me, through Islam, what it helps me is it keeps that balance throughout the day and what I have going on in my life. So it helps keep me, because as an entrepreneur, we run into a lot of stressful situations. Mm-hmm. So, if you are only focusing on the work, if you're only focusing and don't have this other something to fall back on, which is understanding that God is, God's in control at all times, that there's, at the end of the day, what my purpose here is to serve him. It's not to make the money. It's not for my own self-glorification or anything like that. It's to serve him. So once I get that constant reminder, every few hours a day, it's at the end of the day, it helps keeps that balance. And then if I'm disciplined with myself through prayer and through living my life as a Muslim, then it helps keep me in check with my day-to-day duties as an entrepreneur, Absolutely. With my day-to-day duties as a son to my parents, and overall as a overall member of society.
Yeah, man, definitely.
It almost feel like he's focused on the gift giver rather than the gift.
Yeah.
And he's focused on the creator rather than the things that the creator created. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
100%.
That's next level. Go ahead.
It is. I mean, it's all about reminding yourself of the hierarchy of being, right? And like praying every day, and like that act of submission is that is the key part of discipline, is submission, right? Because you have to submit your lower self to your higher self. That is a skill that you have to develop over a period of time, is the act of submission. People want to be dominant all the time, but like, man, if you can't like submit yourself, your desires, your wills, all that different stuff, you're gonna go nowhere. You're gonna be aimless at the end of the day. You know 100%. What I mean? So, and I mean, like just in the practice of prayer, there's a whole science to how and why the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, prayed the way he did. You know what I mean? So when you like go down and put your head on the floor, that is an act of putting your heart above your head. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And the Quran says that there's one part of the body that if it's cleansed and this part of your body is correct, the rest of your body will be correct, and that's the qalb, that's the heart. So when you're doing this, you're acknowledging that your heart, and not only like the physical heart that's beating in your chest, but your spiritual heart is above, even like your intellectual capabilities, because that's how God communicates to you, is through your heart, and that's how you ultimately communicate to God. So I mean, there's so much to like get into there. Even like the contents of Fatiha, right? Mm-hmm. There's this one prayer that Muslims say. You're supposed to say it like 17 times a day through all your prayers, which is Al-Fatiha, which is it's said to be the most blessed prayer that you can possibly do. And it's like a vibratory thing too. Like you were saying, like you walked in there and you heard them say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you just felt that vibration in there. Like I remember like the first time going to Qiyam and hearing my imam like go through the whole Quran, reciting it, and like, bro, I felt that vibration in me. And that's what the Quran is. It's this holy vibration. It was brought down in Arabic for a reason, because this is like one of the most beautiful languages that has been blessed on this earth. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, it's a lot there. It's a lot there.
100%.
That's like, with everything that you just broke down, it's like something to really chill on. It's not something that you just take in and take lightly and you just take it in as information and throw it in the archive. That's something you really, you let cook.
Yeah.
You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? So my question to you is like, what were you doing? Because I'm trying to find out what led up to like now. So we have to tap into the before. Like, what were you doing? Who were you before all this Dubai stuff? What were you doing here in America?
Yes. So prior to me moving over to Dubai, I was working in the real estate industry. More specifically, I was doing mortgages. So I started off my career as a mortgage broker, and then after did that for a few years, I decided to go work for a startup that focuses on building technology to enhance the mortgage industry and also the real estate industry. So I kind of brought the two together. So I was working remotely for them, and on the side, I had backtracking back to 2016. I was actually I heard about Bitcoin and Ethereum and all these different types of cryptocurrencies. So this is back during a time that was called it was known as the ICO boom. So there was a lot of these startups that were popping up that were offering coins and all this stuff. So there was a huge bull market in the crypto industry. So that I got into that back in 2016. So I got involved with a lot of communities. I started buying and selling and all that stuff. And so I always kind of kept that as something that I did on the side personally, like a personal hobby or interest of mine. So then leading up to my time in real estate and doing mortgages, what I did was that I was always active in seeing what I can put some of my money away into. And so when fast forward to the end of 2021, while I was working for the startup, we were having the big, what they called in the tech world, the massive layoffs, right? That was happening. That started in the end of 2021, early 22, or the massive resignation, sorry. So there was a shift, one in the tech space, but there was also a shift in the real estate market where things started to cool down. So this company I was working for started to draw down and lay off a bunch of people. Around the same time that all this was happening, we were seeing the big rise in NFT projects as well. So we had the Bored Apes, you had all these other different PFP NFT projects that were popping up that were really making waves because of how substantial the value would go up. This was 2021. So I was working in real estate. I was involved in these crypto communities and all of that. And then what ended up happening in my story more specifically, I was working as well. Although I was working in mortgages for a tech startup, on the side, I was working at a nightclub because I had moved back to South Florida. I didn't really know anyone. I hadn't really connected with people, even though I'm from here. I lived in Tallahassee for 6 years, so I had cut off all communications from a lot of the people from my past. So what I did was I was working, and I wanted to get out there and not really. I didn't want to spend money. I didn't want to be in all this stuff. I just wanted a new method to make some extra money on the side and also just network, so to speak. So a friend of mine, he had opened up a nightclub down in Wynwood. And I said, you know what, let me just go work for him. Let me just, how bad could this be type thing. So I didn't stay there very long because of just, being in that environment really just wasn't really for me. But within that time frame, I met a gentleman who him and his wife used to be regulars there. And they were in the NFT space, right? So one day I asked them, hey, can you please, tell me a little bit more about what you do and a little bit more about this NFT stuff, because I'd already been reading about it, but I never dove deep and did some proper research on it. So he sat me down one day and, he explained to me everything about the industry, how NFTs work, what who the big players are, what he's doing in it. And it really sparked an interest in me. So I started getting involved in his project, and then I started getting involved in different Discord servers and different communities that was focusing around NFTs. So I got involved with this NFT project that ended up building a very strong community. This was at the end of 2021. And from that community, I met a lot of people who are passionate about this space, who have different skills and expertises. So what we decided to do was we've started our own company that focus around moderating communities and marketing NFT projects, right? Good ones. So
what is NFT? I've been hearing this for a while. Can you break down to, well, you don't have to break it all down, but like, what the hell is NFT?
I'm going to keep it simple here for everybody, for all the listeners and all that. But an NFT is just a form of cryptocurrency that attached to it, there's usually some sort of a file, whether it be, a document, whether it be a JPEG photo, some kind of animation, a movie, anything. Basically, it's a crypto that has this extra element to it that basically points to a file. So it's all stored on the blockchain. So individuals are able to kind of track the origins of where it comes from, and you're able to really track where it heads towards. So, if you ask me, NFTs, there is a future for NFTs. There's a lot of great practical applications, but a lot of the hype that we saw in 2021 reminded me a lot of what we were seeing in 2016, 2017 with the ICO boom. There's a lot of fluff, but with no true substance. So
is that still a thing right now, like NFTs?
NFTs have significantly cooled off. So there still is NFT projects out there that do have value, that do have an actual use case that benefits others or their users. But I would say that it's not at the same place where it was, 2 years ago. So fast forward to the end of 2021, and we have this side gig or this company that we started on the side. I'm working for this startup. I was working remotely. There's rumors going around that they're laying people off. So I had visited Dubai a few months prior to this date. We were in December. And I contacted a friend of mine that lived there, and I said, hey, man, look, I want to move to Dubai. Can I come stay with you for a little bit while I find my own place or whatnot? So he had an extra room, and he said, yeah, why not? I'll come, come stay with me. And the rest is history. When we moved to Dubai, I started networking with a lot of people within the Web3 or the crypto community there. And we ended up just at this point, just growing the business. I got laid off from this tech company, so I had no choice but to go all in at this point. So this is 2022, and that's basically how I ended up in Dubai.
Man, that's very interesting. Just like your perspectives on like all these different bubbles and the rises and fallings of all these different new technologies. And this whole universe works in cycles, right? So just how you were saying, it reminded you the NFT boom of the Bitcoin boom, of the ICO boom. It's the same thing. You know what I mean? And for you to have that experience in 2016 and to be in 2021 is you viewed everything much differently than somebody who's a newbie who might be thinking, man, this is just going to take off and like grow like unlimited. But that's what happens when you study history and when you're a part of these different things is you see the cycles take on, you see empires rise, everything that comes up must come down.
Absolutely.
Right. So, and having an understanding of these things at an early perspective, it allows you to have, I guess to steer the direction of these different projects going into the future. You know what I mean? So now, like you mentioned, Web3, that's definitely one of the new things that's going to develop and it's just going to change the world, honestly. You know what I mean? Just how, like, if somebody was in 2000 and they caught on quickly from Web 1 to Web 2, like people who are catching on from Web 2 to Web 3, which is basically correct me if I'm wrong, but it's going to be, instead of like you going to a platform like YouTube, right? Going to a platform like Instagram, posting on there, they own your content. If they want to de-discover you, if they want to take you off, they have the power to do that. this is going to be more of a communal thing where you actually own this digital space, and the host company is just a server. But it's really more integrating the creators as the owners, and that's what Web3 is moving to the future, right?
Correct.
So, I mean, there's a lot of things you can go into there now. But I mean, what do you see as like the future of Web3? Because for me, I'm like, this is something I'm interested in, but it's not necessarily something where I see an avenue to take part in it right now, or maybe I'm just not going to the right sources.
Absolutely. So there are plenty of different applications that's being built on different blockchains. So Web3, all it is the collective of all these different decentralized applications that's built on blockchain. So essentially, you are given the ability to be rewarded for your contribution to whatever ecosystem that you're a part of. But, or depends on essentially the platform that you are engaged in right now. So decentralized finance. So you're looking at new ways to invest money, to allocate money, and also to essentially just diversify your portfolio from a more traditional sense. You're looking at also these different exchanges that are not controlled by one entity, that it's just built on a blockchain. But at the end of the day, it's just the livelihood of it really depends on how much people are engaged or interacting with it. Right. So I think if you ask me, the Web3, we're still very early, but there are some projects and applications that's out there that are a little bit more mature that users can benefit from. But I still, from the perspective of like a mass adoption perspective, I still think we're still very, very early for it to be like more of like a household thing.
Yeah, and it's 100% going to be a fight too, to actually move everybody from these platforms to these other places, because there's a lot of money moving through these centralized media companies, you know what I mean, through centralized social networking platforms. So whenever money is being pulled, especially in that large of an amount, it's gonna be some kind of a fight. Absolutely. And that's the beauty of not only decentralized platforms but decentralized currency, because nobody can affect or can control the blockchain. Right? The blockchain is independent of everybody, and the blockchain only it's just a truthful ledger, and it takes I forgot where I was going with that point. We could edit that out. We could edit that out.
But you know what? Like what I'm thinking is like, bro, if you look at how when the US dollar, you know how much time it collapsed before it became the U.S. dollar. They had the Confederate dollar. They had the promissory notes. They had literally, it was a note. Like, and they had the people adopt this new currency, this new way of exchange. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like teaching them not really a new language, but giving them a new understanding of how things is going to work right now. And I feel like that's even what Web3 is going to do, because you have these new generation who is pretty much, they're the ones that's locking in on this.
Absolutely.
You know, and they're the one that's taking it to that popularity level, because they're very tech savvy and tech competent. You know, so like it reminded me of my old girl, like my mom. You can't talk to her about technology. The first thing she gonna 100%. Tell you, like I asked her the other day, I'm like, do you got the mobile app? And she's like, she's Jamaican, so the way how she said it is not how I'm gonna say it. She said it way more rough. But she's like, I don't know nothing about no mobile. And I'm like, wait, you have a phone. That is the mobile. You feel what I'm saying? So you are a part of, and has been a part of, something that's it's evolutionary right now. It's evolving right in front of our face, and that's next level.
Absolutely.
What is your plans on where you want to take it?
Man, so great question. From my plans at the end of the day is just to contribute give take the talents that God's blessed me with and see how I can apply it to whatever the needs are within the industry. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm good at networking. I'm good at helping businesses connect the dots and plugging them in with the right resources. So, that's from an individual perspective. That's what I'm here to do and where I want to take it, that it has the right resources, that all stakeholders involved are informed and they get the benefit, and that it's a win-win situation. A lot of these communities within the Web3 space, or just overall Web3 as a whole, it actually enables a spirit of collaboration rather than competition, because at the end of the day, the more people you have interacting with your ecosystem, that's more ideas, that's more resources that's being shared. And at the end of the day, Web3 shouldn't be looked at something that's trying to, yes, it's going to disrupt modern or the current system in the sense of like with media and some technology companies, but it leaves room for there to be a sense of collaboration. So for some of these already existing businesses or companies or media platforms to be able to integrate the technology into the platform that they already have, so that they can continue to keep providing value to their users and their customers. So that's the way I see the industry, or from my perspective. It's not going to be something that's completely going to be separate. I think that it's separate now, but eventually it's a technology, so you don't have, Intel Core, unless you know about the Intel Core processors and you know about computer, you don't know what a processor is. But at the end of the day, you have all these different computers or different companies like Dell or whatnot that uses the Intel processor. It's a technology. So at the end of the day, it's the same thing with these different types of applications that's being built on Web3. What you'll see is startups form businesses around it, or you'll see existing companies right now, technology or media platforms adopt some of this technology themselves.
Yeah, and I feel like that trickles down into society. What's at the top, like you were saying, as above, so below. So it's gonna trickle down here, and we're like roaches. Well. That's the worst. That's the worst comparison. But roaches, they just adapt to the new norm, So I remember when AI was just, to me, it was just like, I remember the first time I seen the movie I, Robot, and I was like, oh, no, it's a good movie. Let's keep it in the movie section. I don't see it going beyond that, but seeing that even manifesting, it was like, okay, maybe I just need to start being a little bit open-minded about what's to come. So I don't really think it's a Web3 or even anything that's on the way. I don't think it's coming here to really take over and replace what we have. I just feel like it is coming, and it's gonna be a whole new sector that it opens up opportunities for a lot of us, especially like me. I'm a nerd. So like, I like shit like that. I don't know about it, but when it present itself, it's like, wait, what is that? Wait, what? Oh, that's next level. Let me see what that's about. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like,
yeah, no, it's gonna bring along the people and elevate the people who understand and learn how to use it. You know what I mean? If these media companies want to be like Blockbuster, be like, I'm gonna sit in my brick and mortar. People gonna have to come to me for their movies. I'm not gonna go nowhere. I'm not gonna innovate nothing. Now we see all these ghost town blockbusters with a bunch of roaches running around them, and we see Netflix, one of the biggest technology companies, because they foresaw the future and they saw what was going to happen. They saw the changes in the market and they forecasted it and they embraced it. Yeah. I feel like that's the main thing. You know what I mean? Like embracing these new technologies and not letting fear overtake you. Because I have these conversations, like I'm a graphic design major in school right now, and I have these conversations with a lot of my professors and a lot of my classmates. And there's two stark points of views that there are. it's either, yo, I can make so much more art with this and I could do so, this enhances my capabilities, or AI is here to take my job. All these people are here to take my job. You know what I mean? Right. And
perspectives.
It's really about perspective, because just like it's going to eliminate a lot of jobs, and like, you know, a lot of jobs can be taken on by this AI, it's also going to open up a whole new sector, a whole new form of jobs. Like if you know, like AI prompt engineers, that's a whole new thing of people who are paid like top level salaries to speak to these AI programs and to know how to write these prompts. You know what I mean? Like the Midjourney packs I was showing you about, how they have these Midjourney packs that you can buy, and it will spit out these amazing enhanced images, and anybody can learn, you know what I mean, how to write these certain prompts. So I mean, it's a beautiful thing that there are just new inventions coming in, and I feel like it's democratizing technology a lot. Like a lot, dog. You could build an app right now, no code. You know what I mean?
Even something like that, at the end of the day, is giving more power to someone that's otherwise a layman individual, that they ain't got like the same technological skills as someone that's been studying computer science for like 4 years or whatnot, or been coding. I think that at the end of the day, that look, if an individual goes out there, you know, and they have to make the decision, look, am I finna read, or am I just gonna wait for somebody to just, you know, tell me, you know, what I should do? You know, you got to get yourself out there involved in studying and learning about what this is, especially for those of us who, you know, if you feel like you want to do something better for your life, right? You want to change, you want to get out there. You're tired of the same 9 to 5. You're tired of working for that boss that, you know, that pisses you off all the time. Go out there and read. And there's so much opportunities within this space for every single individual. All you need is this, a phone.
Yeah.
And you could start with that. And then from there, you just take it from there. And if you ain't got a phone, you could borrow one from somebody. Yeah. And if you don't got somebody that will lend you a phone, there's a public library that you could go and use. So, you know, it's the opportunities is there in your face. Yeah. So go out there.
There's no excuse.
Yeah, there's no excuse.
It's eliminating all the excuses that you have of like, oh, I have this idea for a website, but I don't know how to build it. I have this idea for a movie, but I don't have a camera. All of those excuses, the more technology evolves, is going to be taken out, and it's only going to be predicated on your imagination and how far you can take that. So even if you are in a position right now where you don't have the right type of technology, there's going to be a time where if you close your eyes and imagine something in your mind, it's going to be able to be reproduced on the screen right there.
Yeah,
you know,
we're heading there.
That's already
Neuralink.
there. So there's this inventor in Japan, right? And he's made this technology that can read your brainwaves. And he did a bunch of study on different people's brainwaves, specifically his own, where he'd be shown images of apples, of rockets, and it would like, you know, learn in like basically these machine learning platforms of like, okay, these are the brain waves that he spits out when he sees a person raising his hand. These are the brain waves that he spits out when he sees a person raising his foot. Different images, right? And he choreographed a whole like sick hip hop break dance just with his mind. You know what I mean? So that technology is coming, and that's really just gonna open up the whole span of human creativity. And like all technology, it's going to be about how you use the tool.
Absolutely.
Are you going to use the tool for good, or are you going to use the tool for evil? And that's also the part of like where as we move into these different spaces, and like the human intellect is given so much power, and like the human spirit is given so much power to affect the world and to affect, you know, your fellow souls on this planet, it's really important to have people on the right path and have people thinking and remembering Allah and remembering, you know, the higher purpose, and just how powerful a lot of these technologies are. Even if it's very subliminal, very like subtle, it affects people, especially if you see it over and over again. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And another thing too, man, I gotta touch on that because you reminded me of me when I first had the idea of doing a podcast. I had no equipments. I had no lights, no nothing. Anything you see around here right now, it was not here. And I watched a video on how to start a podcast, and this one lady, she was like, all you need is your camera. All you need is your phone. It's like, you don't have to start big and high level. You can work your way up to it. But my question is, what is your drive like? What is your drive like? Because your drive is going to dictate how far you actually get. You know, how much force and energy are you actually applying to your ideas, to your imagination, to your dream, to your goals? You said you can't go small. I'm sorry, small don't work no more. It never did. A king didn't become a king just by born into the royal family, because if he wasn't fit, guess what? He would have been overthrown by the people. He had to put in extra work to fit that position. And I remember I started off with just a phone, and I said, okay, what's the next thing I need that's very essential? Okay, I need lights. Bomb. I bought some cheap Amazon lights. They're like $10. And then guess what? Worked the way to the next level. I bought some mics. It's funny. We're still using the mics today. And if you hear the quality, you wouldn't even know that there's another piece of equipment that's altering it to give it that good quality that it has. It's all about how much drive you have. You have that drive, you're going to find a way to solve the problem. You're going to find a way to manifest. You will not see anything as a loss, a mistake, a failure. It doesn't exist. It's all lessons, and it's a roadmap for how you're going to move forward. What's the next step? You know what I mean? So it reminded me when you said, bro, all you need is a phone, just to start off and just kind of get a feel for what this thing is even like, because you will never really know. I don't care what you do, how much books you read, how much mentors you got. That don't make me comfortable. Absolutely not. I want to know what your drive look like, because I would rather help someone and work with someone who got a lot of drive rather than just helping someone who wants to have a lot of drive.
Exactly.
Or know what drives look like and know how to perform it. But why you not being an example?
Yeah. I mean, like me personally, right? I don't listen to motivational speakers because I feel like if I need somebody else to come in and motivate me to improve my life, I'm already lost. I got to find some other answer somewhere else, because that motivation comes internally. You know what I mean? Like there are certain like mantras and sayings and like mindsets that you can take from people and implement into your life. Like, and you know, if you emulate the habits of successful people, you will become those things. So instead of focusing and being like, I want to be a millionaire, break down what are the habits of a millionaire, right? You're not just saying like, I want to be a bodybuilder and you're just going to be that one day. How does a bodybuilder exercise? What are how many sets they got to do a week? How do they feed their bodies to get to this point and to build these muscles? You know what I mean? So man, it's really about the process. You got to be process oriented. You got to wake up every single day and choose to be on that path, and choose to even though you want to chill, even though you want to sit down and smoke some, you have to have that vision in your mind so clear that you already see it and you're already there, right? Because like if we're building a business, right, and the business is a startup, it's at the lowest level. If I treat it and I put my energy into it like it's at this level, like it's a startup, like it's a low level business, it's going to stay like that forever. But for me to actually elevate it and take it to the next level, I have to put in the mental, physical, and spiritual energy into it as if it's already at that level. You know what I mean? Because I got to be above it, pulling it up and raising it. So, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So I have something to say about motivational speakers, because, you know, a lot of people, they have different environments.
Yeah.
So if you're not in an environment if you want to change and you want to level up and get in this mindset of wanting to progress yourself, however, the people that's around you are not nurturing that, they're not supporting that, then maybe sometimes going on YouTube and listening to different motivational speakers, it helps, because at the end of the day, whatever you feed your mind is what ends up, whatever's in your heart will end up, manifesting. So if you start putting in your mind all of these words of affirmations. I can do it. I'm the man, or I'm the woman, or I can accomplish this. And these motivational speakers are not only providing you with the mindset, but then a lot of them often drop a lot of useful resources. I highly recommend that someone, if your environment doesn't support it, as you work on cutting those people off, you listen to these motivational speakers to at least keep that fire burning. Yes. And then eventually find where the communities are around these motivational speakers, because at the end of the day, if you find the community, and I think that's actually the best place to start, is whether it be a local motivational speaker or someone as big as Tony Robbins, get involved, go out there, go to one of these events, get yourself out of the comfort zone, and you start meeting other people like-minded that want to improve themselves. And that's, I think, one way when people ask me how, everyone thinks I'm crazy because I want to do X, Y, and Z. Well, okay, that's fine. To work on cutting those people off, or if it makes sense, of course. But your main focus is the mission always comes first. That's one of the things that we learned in the Marines. Mission always comes first. So if your mission is to get out of your environment, get out of your situation, go and find the people that are already at the place that you want them to be. Or that are also working towards that. And you're going to start to see a lot of change happen in your life.
No, 100%. And it's all about, like, I was just giving my personal perspective, because I know what I respond to, right? I know my languages that speak to me and what motivates me, and words of affirmation just happens not to be one of my love languages type thing. But if you have knowledge of self, and you know yourself, and you know that if you have that, stimulus from this man or from this woman, from this speaker, and that's what will get you up and get you out, like 100% do that. You got to customize your environment and your diet to yourself and to being the best version of yourself. So, I mean, I 100% understand that. I wonder, you work with a lot of these like new technology companies, and you've like seen these companies like brought up from like the dirt up. Like, my question would be, what are some of the things that you look for, either in a business or in a person or in an idea, that gives you like that belief in it, of like, okay, this is something that has the ability to go forward. This has the growth potential.
Well, don't only just take it from me, but also take it from all of the very well-known and successful venture capitalists and investors and successful entrepreneurs. They all say the same thing, that it's all based on the mindset of that person. The product at the end of the day, the plan can make sense, but if the person that's trying to drive that shows no motivation, no life, looks unfocused, uncommitted, the energy that they're putting off is that they just want to make a quick buck or whatnot. All that shows at the end of the day. So I definitely would say, like, for example, the startup that I'm currently working with, it's the founder approached me almost 2 years ago, or almost 2 years ago at this point, with his idea, right? And we were introduced by a mutual friend. He gave me the idea, what he wanted to do, asked for some advice. I gave him my advice, my 2 cents, and that was it. Just like countless other people have done before. He was the first one that actually not only came back with the suggestions I made, but even better, even more better improvements to his business model. And then he just kept, all right, so I would then give him my opinion, and then he just kept coming back and kept coming back and kept coming back. And I'm like, wow, this guy wants it. He's a true hustler. He really is. And he's a young guy. He was, at the time, he was 21. And, again, I don't write anyone off because of the age or anything like that. But I was like, okay, he's a young guy. He's going to go do his thing and spread his wings and fly. But I wasn't expecting him to keep coming back. And I wasn't expecting him to be as serious as he so evidently made himself to be within just the first few interactions with him. So he definitely won me over. And over time, as the project started to mature, I started to get more emotionally invested as well and personally invested into the project because now I'm seeing the success and now I want to be a part of this now for myself too.
Right.
So he ended up building the right team around him, and earlier this year he ended up bringing me in as a co-founder of the project. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah,
Next
man.
level. That's next level. I love that. You're having a good time in Dubai. That's
Yes.
what it sounds like. Because it sounds like you're in a rush to go back.
Yeah, I love South Florida, but because at the end of the day, this is where my people's at. You know what I mean? So like, this is where I'm from. This is where my family is. This is where I came up from. So at the end of the day, there's still beautiful, loving people that love and care about me that I can't never neglect. But so I love the environment here. I love coming to the beautiful South Florida. Fort Lauderdale, Miami. There's no place on earth like it. But I do love Dubai, needless to say.
You know what? I look at all the greats in history and just watching how they moved.
Yeah.
They was never stationed.
Yeah.
They was on the move. Like, they'll be in Quebec one day, then the next day they're in West Bubblefuck. Like, it's like, first of all, how the hell you got over there without a plane or a car? You know what I mean? But you're on a journey right now. You're on a mean journey. And I feel like you're doing the right thing right now. You're playing it out just how it's supposed to be played out. It's like you're just flowing with it. Like, you got people's here. You come here and you enjoy it. You get back to Dubai, you enjoy it. If you end up in who knows where else, I'm pretty sure you're gonna have that same spirit, man. Because you seem as if like you have this peace with just existing within yourself, and that's the only real estate that matters.
Absolutely.
That's the only piece of property that kind of matters, because you know who is watering that ground, who's maintaining that ground. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's a compliment, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man. You move with a lot of poise, bro.
Thank you. Well,
So,
it took a lot of adversity. I mean, I would say I read a quote that really resonated with me, but it goes something along the lines like, it took a lot of violence for me to be this gentle and kind.
That's Tyson.
So at the end of the day, I come from a loving family, but however, the environment that I subjected myself to wasn't as loving. And that was because I, from a very early age, was having struggles with my identity and who I am and things like that. So I subjected myself to being around some really interesting and hard situations. And at the end, it took a lot of that hitting rock bottom and a lot of failure and making a lot of mistakes. I've done bad things that I, at the time, for many years, I regretted. And it wasn't until I learned to let go of that and learned to say, hey, my past is not going to define my
Forgive
future.
yourself.
Forgive myself and all that, is when then I decided, okay, I can do something great for not just myself, but for my family and for the world around me.
Lit.
And one thing that really has helped me out, in addition to religion, has also been, just I got into reading philosophy while I was in college. My roommate at the time, I was struggling a lot with a lot of anxiety, with a lot of issues or whatnot. I really was lost at a low point in my life. And my roommate gave me this book. He's like, yo, I think this will really help you, because I always like to read. So he gifted me Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, and if no one's read it, I think it's anyone out there, I highly suggest you check out that book, because it really helped me change my mindset big time to even help make me a better servant of God and a better son and a better human being at the end of the day. And it's all about the teachings of Stoicism that. Marcus Aurelius was one of the greatest Roman emperors that ever lived.
Wasn't he one of the last, right?
One of the last, but also known as, I think he was the last, even the last great one that people mourned for almost years after he passed away because of how good he was as a leader. And rather than studying rhetoric and studying all these things that in essence make a royal different from people, he studied philosophy, so it made him more like the average man, or not only talk but also perceive things that he could resonate with just an average person. So for me, I was fascinated by it. I started learning and reading more and more about him, about Seneca, about Epictetus, about all of these philosophers that came before him. And then also hearing the story about how it helped Nelson Mandela, reading Meditations while in prison for 25 years, helped him develop this mindset. Where when he came out of prison, instead of him having hate in his heart and this remorse, he came out of there with compassion and love. Stoicism, religion, my past. At the end of the day, it all led me to where I'm at. So going back to the story of this young entrepreneur that came to me almost 2 years ago about his project, his idea, what really captivated me was that he wanted to help people and change the world through education. And I was like, wow, that's what happened to me. It wasn't until I educated myself and I read and I started acquiring skills as well, I was able to change my life. And while we kept talking about the project and as he kept developing it and all of that, I was like, man, this really reminds me of the story of the founder of Stoicism. Basically, if you guys don't know the story of the founder of Stoicism, he was a wealthy merchant that he was actually the guy that used to produce the dye to make the purple dye.
Out the shells.
So, it takes hundreds of these shells just to make, or thousands of these shells to be crushed up and processed to make just a few grams of these. So it's a lot of work, but needless to say, it's a lot of money.
Sounds expensive.
Super expensive. So think about it. Man was rolling in dough. And think about having all his work on his ships. And he was, I think he was on his way to Athens and they hit a storm. And his ships, he lost everything. They were shipwrecked. He was lucky to survive, but he survived. But he was poor for a long time. He was in destitute. He was miserable. He was desperate. There was no way out. How could he, worked so hard to build something up and lost it all.
Went from 100 to zero that quick.
So, he decided instead of just being a beggar, he wandered into a library and started studying. And a legend tells that he learned, he read from the teachings of Socrates and Plato and all that. And later he asked the librarian, "Oh my God, these works of philosophy, how can I learn? Who can I learn from more about philosophy?" So coincidentally, just as he was saying that, there was a philosopher that was walking in. I forgot the name of the philosopher. And the librarian said, "That's who you need to talk to." And he went and became a student of philosophy. And he went on and changed the world and all of that. So the name of that gentleman his name is Zeno. And that's actually the name of our project. It's also Zeno, because we believe that if we can educate people, you can not only change your life, but you can change the life of those around you. So what our project in essence is, we're taking industry recognized leaders in their subject matters, and they're teaching you for an affordable price, so to speak, valuable skills that you can then learn and apply it, whether in your job or go and start a business with. And on top of that, we're rewarding you for completing these courses. And on top of that, we're also rewarding you and incentivizing you to get involved in the community of, whether your local community, but also get involved in our community that we're building of like-minded people that want to change their lives, but then also share the knowledge and help others around us. So that's what at the end of the day, what we're trying to do here. And that's what gets me excited to wake up every day and, get on the grind and hustle.
I love it. I love the sound of it. I got a question though.
What's up?
Like that? I guess the etymology of the word Stoicism? Like where did Stoicism came from?
Great question. So Stoicism. So Zeno, as he developed his own philosophy, right? So he took elements of some of the prior different schools of thought, is what we should say. So some of them being cynicism, and all these other logic, which are different forms of philosophy. He kind of blended all that together and started teaching people that at the end of the day, there's a web out there of cause and effect that not me, not you, none of us have any control over. The world is just going to be. The only thing that is just what is. So at the end of the day, you could never control what happens. You can only control your perception on what's going on and what you're seeing. So in essence, Stoicism teaches people, and I'm getting to your question, that at the end of the day, your main number one focus is for ataraxia, which means calmness or peace of mind. And that's the whole purpose of Stoicism. So as he's teaching this to people and their lives are changing, they would meet on this porch, and on this porch that in Greek, porch is stoa. So Stoicism comes from the teachings of the porch.
Right.
It was people would just gather and they would just learn. So they would just spread like that.
So the teachings from the porch.
Yeah. So yeah, porch.
And it's not like no specific porch. Like there's not like a monument I could go look at of this porch. It's just like, yo, we find this porch and we about to do some teaching on this porch.
Yeah, no. So to be exact, there was a particular porch called Stoa Pioloki or Piolki. Pardon me for any Greek speakers there. But it really is, so it's actually, they met specifically at what's called the painted porch. And that is where they would meet. And I don't know if it's still around today. I have never been to Greece. Inshallah, I hope to go soon. But, that's where Stoicism comes from.
I love it. I love it. You're about to make me go to Greece.
Pull up.
And then I'm
pull
going
up.
to call you and then you're going to fly me out to Dubai.
Hell yeah. Pull up.
We're going to be doing podcasting over there in Dubai.
Bro, slide. I'm happy to have you, man.
Damn, man. No, happy to have you. You're actually here. Like, you're here. And it's a blessing that we're alive. We woke up today and we could have made the worst out of our day, but yet we're here shedding light and really just connecting. You know what I mean? And I think that's how I want to close out today. Talking to your people, the one that can relate to you, your story, the ones that went through the traumas that you went through. Look at that camera and you see them, right? What do you have to say? What is some like the top 2 advice you just want to give them before you leave?
My top 2 advice I would say is 1, first, be honest with yourself, with who you are. Learn yourself. Spend time by yourself. Understand who that man or that woman, who that person is deep inside, and be honest. That's step 1. And then step 2, or the second advice I say, is just put yourself out there. Do not ever be afraid to communicate what you want. Because when you communicate out there what you want in life, the universe would conspire in your favor. So go out there and get it.
Yes.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think the main lesson I take from just speaking with you and connecting with you and building with you today is, it reminds me of a quote that knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave, right? And what that tells me is that your intellect is your world. You build your world around you every single day. Like, some people see a chair, the other people see how that chair was built. You feel me? Some people see a tree, other people see how that tree was nurtured and how that tree is connected to all the other trees around it. Like there's a depth that you can have as an observer that just provides so much more richness to your life. So if you invest in yourself, invest in your intellect, and just build your knowledge of this alam. And alam is like an Arabic word that means this world, right? And the etymology of this word alam comes from the word alama, and alama is sign, right? So this world, nature, your fellow man, woman, is the greatest sign of the higher power that you have. So the more you understand them, and the more you understand everything around you, just the more enriched you're gonna be in every single moment. And that's the real riches, you feel me? So that, man, my call to action would just be, pick something that y'all are genuinely curious in. Pick something that y'all genuinely want to further your understanding on and pursue that. You feel me? And be consistent about it every single day. So, yeah, that's my thing.
Amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that, bro. I love that. And I'm just going to dive straight into mine because, guys, I'm not going to lie. We have spent a lot of time with you this week. Next week, what we have coming up, it's going to be crazy, just like it was today. You already know how we coming at you guys. We're not giving you no fluff. We don't have time for it because we don't want you to have time for that. Put all that stuff aside. That's my call to action. Put all the BS aside. Put all the joking and kidding aside. Put all that extra stuff aside. If it's not adding to the goal, if it's not bettering you, if it's not adding to you, anything that's taken away from you, anything that's diverting you off your path, stay away from it. Let's apply this real stuff, right? At the end of the day, truth stands. Real, truth, they're like twins. Because the truth is real and it will stand. So why not apply what's real, right? We ain't got time for none of that. I'm going to tell you the same thing. Go subscribe to the channel, all right? Go and find my brother. As a matter of fact, you ain't even got to go find him. He's going to tell you exactly where he's at. How can the people find you?
Yeah, you could just find me on Instagram. That's Raf, R-A-F, Marimon, M-A-R-I-M-O-N. Or also follow our Telegram channel, Zeno Learning.
Yes, and you heard it here on Lyfe After Podcast. Guys, my call to action, put all the fluff aside. Put the BS aside, all right? BS, get overlooked. Real stuff, get dealt with. Sounds good? I like it. Hey, listen, I am so happy right now, man. I got my brother on the channel. And you know, Mick, my brother, that's my main man. He on the channel. Today we giving y'all everything that you need to last you for the next, 14 days, all right? 14 days, tune back in. Eventually, we will work our way up to giving you everything you need every 7 days. Yes, we're going next level, all right? So as long as you tuning in with us, trust me, we are out here putting excessive work to be the best version of us for you. All right? Listen, it was a pleasure having y'all this week. Y'all know we keeping the ether realistic. Let's go.